Hi everyone, and welcome to Contractbook Remote Job Fair. I'm Joanna. I'm part of Landing.Jobs team, and I'll be your host for today. As we wait for everyone to join us, I hope you are all well fitted and ready for this next hour. Before we start, let me know if you're hearing me properly. You can say it in the chat on your right, so we make sure that everything is working just fine. Today we are here with Benjamin, Talent Acquisition Manager at Contractbook. Hi, Benjamin. And Ewan, Technical Team Lead, also at Contractbook. And both will be talking about how Contractbook is changing the way contracts are made all over the world in its entire life cycle. So if you have any questions throughout the session that you'd like to ask, please just feel free to do it in the Ask a Question button, and the team will answer them at the end of the presentation. Throughout the presentation, just feel free to leave your comments on the chat like you are doing right now. That's cool. We will keep an eye on them, and we will discuss them also in the end. So without further ado, welcome Benjamin, welcome Johan, and thank you so much for being here with us today. For those of you who just joined, my name is Joanna, and we're starting our session about Contractbook. So the stage is yours, guys. Go ahead.
Thank you very much. Thanks for the introduction, Joanna. Thank you, everyone, for joining us this evening. We understand it's after work, and we really do appreciate your time. Basically, what I want to do is, as Joanna said, I'm part of the talent acquisition team at Contractbook, and we're in a good space. We're really happy. We're growing fast, so hopefully we entice you. And if you've got any questions, as Joanna said, please leave them in the chat box, or you can reach out directly to myself or Ewan via LinkedIn or email. So let's get into it. The agenda of today, I'm just going to give you a little bit of a brief introduction and then explain Contractbook, what we really do, what our app is about, a little bit of my own arena, people and culture at Contractbook, and then we're very lucky to have Ewan with us, one of our tech leads, and we're really going to go in depth and describe how the first 2 weeks of a software developer may look like should you decide to join us. So let's get into it. Contractbook, let's get all the admin out of the way. We're called Contractbook, and we're about 4 years old. It's quite a funny, actually, conception story. What we did, our founders, Niels, Jarek, Victor, Contractbook was originally a software house. So they were doing all these different projects, and one of the projects was Contractbook. However, what happened was, due to all these projects and due to employment contracts, NDAs, etc., contracts just kept piling up to the point where they couldn't handle the other projects. So all the attention was placed on Contractbook, and it's been very, very successful. I don't like reading off the slides. However, some key highlights: over 110,000 users in over 75 different countries, which is something awesome, and I'm very, very proud to be a part of that. We mainly focus on the small and medium-sized businesses, which is a market largely disregarded by the big players, DocuSign, PandaDoc, etc. And also something very, very important, we've had 2 quite successful and quick rounds of funding. So our Series A, we got a funding of around 9.3 million. And then not only half a year later, we got a successful Series B round of 30 million. So we got some huge VC firms in there. And this 30 million is going to be allowing us to enter the US market and really just run through the small and medium businesses. We've also got a 300% year-over-year growth. That just means that we're growing 300% bigger and better every single year. And of course, our churn is under 1%. So what is Contractbook? Why are we so successful? The reason for this is we're an all-in-one hub. So we've got a contract drafter. Just think of it as a questionnaire which you fill out, and our system spits out a really rough draft, which you can then edit and customize to your business needs. We've then got an editorial collaborator. Again, this is where the customization comes in, and a signature, of course. A contract's nothing without a signature. Also to note, we just released our wet signature, and all that means is if you've got a touch screen, you can just draw your signature and it's stored and signed. Again, something very, very important when it comes to contracts is the storage. So you can do all of these just in the one app, Contractbook. We store it, we're GDPR compliant, and we take our security very, very seriously. And then, of course, lastly, some task managements, which replace things like Google Calendar, Todoist, etc. A task management in terms of a contract could be something like you need to re-sign annual contracts, or there's a reminder that a contract is expiring and you can reset with your team, have a look. Is this something we want to commit to again, or we're going to look for other options? It's also worth noting that automation is a big part of what we try to do at Contractbook, and we try to make it as seamless as possible for Contractbook to already slide into the daily workflows of our potential users. So this means Salesforce, etc. These big companies, Contractbook can just slide in, and it's got backward compatibility, something we're really, really proud on. And I'm sure Yuan is going to speak a little bit more about the automation. So my arena, people and culture at Contractbook. We're a remote first culture, and we really do mean remote first. We work from all around the world. We've got around 11 different nationalities living in 20 different countries, which is crazy. For a company our size, I know you see 100 employees now and you're thinking, oh, it's okay, it's a small company. But just to give you some perspective, this time last year, our company was at around 25 to 30 employees. So we've grown 70 employees. We've expanded our countries and nationalities, and we plan to grow a little bit more. At the end of the presentation, we've got some awesome new openings, which I'm sure are going to entice you. And this last dot point here, people-driven solutions. I know some of you may be rolling your eyes and saying, oh, it's just some more people and culture jargon. But really, what it means for us and what it means for me, speaking from a talent acquisition point of view, we really try and put people at the center of our solutions, be it the solution of simplifying small and medium businesses, legal tech aspects, the contract lifecycle, or trying to find the best employee, not only because you're going to grow and you're going to improve, but because you believe in our mission, and always keeping the people at the center of all our solutions, be it internal company solutions or, of course, our product. This is what allows us to be so successful, to be able to grow so much. We don't plan on growing, again, 100, 200 employees. However, this large growth period has been sustained because of this one point, that we are people-driven, and the solutions we design and help create are all with the people in mind. So really, if you'd like a little bit more explanation on this, please, again, don't hesitate to reach out to me. I'm pretty active on LinkedIn. But yeah, hopefully I've explained it. I don't want to take too much of your time up with this, but it's something very, very near and dear to my heart, and also very near and dear to our founders as well. So again, working at Contractbook here, culture, challenge, and care, very people-centric. I did a test run on the video, and unfortunately the audio doesn't come through. So please feel free to download this presentation and have a look at our meetup. We had it back in Spain in 2019. And I know you're saying, wow, that's a long time ago. However, we're all trying to live with this new normal in the pandemic. So as soon as everything eases and it's going to be safe to do so, we're going to be having our next meetup. A really fun get together where we can all come, make new bonds, build new friendships because of this remote first culture. So now, what you're here for, the vacant positions, how you join Contractbook, etc. Please, first point of contact should be our careers page right there. You can see contractbook.com/careers. We've got a lot of commercial openings. However, this tab here, this column on the left would be probably more interesting for you. We're soon going to be adding some new job openings. So this is a Landing.Jobs exclusive. We have 6 software developers. We're in need of 2 QA engineers, 3 product designers, a product manager, and a Gravity team member. I just put an asterisk on this Gravity team member. A Gravity team member is a software developer. However, he's going to need to be a little bit more senior. And this is because Gravity team looks after things which are related to the product, but not directly. So it could be security, infrastructure, tooling. And due to this high level of ownership and high importance of tasks, we would require someone a little bit more senior. Again, if you need any more clarification, please reach out to you, and he'd be more than happy to go into more depth about this. But again, really, really exciting. We've got our commercial openings up on our careers page, and special exclusive for Landing.Jobs, software devs, QA engineers. We're on the lookout. Reach out to me. I'll be more than happy to have a chat. So join our team. I hope Yuan hasn't fallen asleep. And now let's get into the interesting part of the conversation. Yuan, how do you feel about working in Contractbook? Do you enjoy it?
Hey everyone. Yes, obviously, yes, it feels great to work here. Otherwise, I wouldn't be here today. So like the things I like about working here is on a daily basis I get to work with very talented people from all over the world, very self-driven folks, and we get to work on very meaningful challenges. So it's very nice to see the result of our work being used by tens of thousands of users. And everything is done within a very nice and pleasant work culture, and also with a very nice tech stack, in my opinion. So yeah, more than happy to be here.
Wonderful. I know we took a very, again, people-centric, people-driven approach, but Yuen, could you maybe explain a little bit more technically, or something other people can relate to? What are some of the standout aspects which make working at Contractbook unique for you from a software developer standpoint?
Okay, so there is a lot of things. There is a lot of small things when you combine them together, give this kind of unique experience of working at Contractbook. But if I were to pick the most unique aspects, at least to me, it would be first the emphasis on teamwork. So we work in true cross-functional teams. We are going to touch the topic of teams a bit later during the session, so I'm not going to tell you too many details right now. But don't worry, we are going to go back to it. The second aspect is, as you mentioned, we are remote first and asynchronous friendly from the beginning. So it's not something we suddenly had to do because of COVID and the pandemic, but it's something that is there from the very beginning of the company. So what it means in practice, it means we don't have official working hours. We have folks all over the world working at different time zones, hours of the day. Like basically you get to choose when you want to work. And there is a lot of trust and freedom involved. So because of the nature of the communication and the nature of the work, the communication is also in particular, we rely a lot on asynchronous communication, on written communication, and we try to be very intentional when we communicate with each other. So you'll see, if you get the opportunity to join, you'll see that we are very, very big on how we communicate with each other because of the nature, like the remote nature of our company. But still, like with our colleagues, we always have a few hours within the day of overlap. So you can also jump on a call. You can, do some brainstorming or some programming, pair programming sessions with your colleague. At the end of the day, it's all about striking the good balance between synchronous work and asynchronous work. Awesome. Then some other aspects. One that was very important to me when I joined, we have a strong culture of learning on the job. So, if you want to work on something interesting, but you can't really on your job and you have to spend your own time on pet projects and so on, it's not really that good. And here we really, for us, it's really important that what we do in our day job makes us learn new stuff, make us grow and so on. So it's very important for us to be able to do that. And last thing, I mean, there's ton of other aspects, but the last thing I would like to mention is our tech stack. So we use Elixir on the backend, which may seem rather uncommon choice, but it's a very nice language, very nice ecosystem, and it's been working with us for us very, very well so far. So yeah, I think it's worth mentioning it because it's not like the typical tech stack from what you may find in most companies.
That's awesome. Thanks for clarifying that and a little bit more nitty-gritty and details hopefully others can relate to as well. So Yuen, I'm interested. I'm a software developer. I want to join Contractbook. Could you maybe map out, I know it's very difficult given the async environment, but could you maybe map out how my first 2 weeks or month may look at Contractbook if I decide to join?
All right. So first of all, I think it's worth mentioning that we have new joiners coming to Contractbook with different levels of seniority and also very different past experiences. So we have people coming from big corporations and or consultancy. We have people coming from like smaller companies, people coming from other product companies as well. But at the end of the day, every developer gets the same onboarding checklist to go through. But the interesting thing is like the checklist itself is being created in such a way that you can go through it at your own pace and also in an asynchronous manner. So depending on the familiarity with on your familiarity with the tech stack and on your your current experience, you basically may spend more time or less time on this checklist. So I think it's better to think about it more as a kind of guide or menu where you get to choose and pick your items based on your needs and your curiosity. So this has been working very well for us. It's also very nice if you're a bit self-driven because you can go through the checklist, on your own, at your own pace, and so on. But obviously, if you have any issues or if you have any questions, you will have your team here available to give you full support and make sure you have a smooth start. So yeah, I very liked the experience of my own onboarding when I joined because it was a very nice mix between like going through the checklist and also doing stuff on the side. So in parallel to the checklist, what happens is we encourage everyone, any new developer, to start contributing to the code base as soon as possible. So basically making the first pull request and so on. So we believe it's simply the best way to to learn, to get to know your teammates, like know the code base, and basically learn how we work at Contractbook. And it's not uncommon for new joiners to create and merge their first pull request within 2 or 3 days of joining. So the process is pretty well defined.
Wonderful. And I can second that as well, speaking now from a people and culture standpoint. Again, when I joined, the onboarding process was very individual. I had a completely different, not a completely different, same checklist, different way of completing it than my colleague, for example. So this is really, really cool. And again, I was already contributing to the people and culture department with my own work within the week. Yuan, though, something which is stuck in the back of my mind. You mentioned cross-functional teams, yes. Async. Can you maybe describe that? Because I'm feeling cross-functional teams were working everywhere. What's my area of responsibility going to be?
Right. Yeah. So cross-functional teams, as I was mentioning at the beginning, it's a huge part of working at Contractbook. What does it mean for us? So first of all, maybe before going into details, just to give you a notion of our growth right now. At the beginning of the year, we only had 2 of these teams, and now we have 6. So it's been a pretty intense period for us. But thanks to our culture and the way we approach these kind of things, it's been really working very well for us, and we didn't have any kind of major issues scaling from 2 teams to 6 teams. So each team is composed of 5 to 6 developers, 1 QA engineer, 1 product designer, and 1 product manager. And the interesting thing is each team has a lot of ownership and a lot of freedom in how they approach work. So not only the team will decide how they want to organize themselves, but to some extent, they will also be able to decide what to work on. So to give you some kind of idea, we don't get features to build from external stakeholders, but we get problems to solve, and these problems we may get them from customer feedback. We may get them from the result of product discovery. We may get them from the vision or the strategy of the company. But at the end of the day, the team gets problems, and what we have to come up with is solutions and how to implement them. So I personally very like this approach, because it means that we as developers within the team, we also take part in all these decisions. So we are not restricted to the technical aspect of the work, but we get to, brainstorm all ideas with our colleagues, with our product designer, product manager, and we get to learn about a ton of different stuff, like about UX design, product management, product discovery, quality assurance, security, all that, to provide the best possible experience for our customers. So if you're self-driven individual and you would like to learn a bit more than just like be focused 100% of the time on technical aspects, it's a very nice opportunity. Additionally, so you also asked how these teams interact with each other.
Exactly.
So the whole idea of having teams who are empowered and have a lot of freedom and a lot of ownership is for us to be able to work independently and to basically work faster, not having to think all the time when we do something about like what the other teams are doing and so on. So what we decided to do when we scaled from 2 teams to like 6 teams is give each team a bigger area of the product. So for example, when one team will be focused on the content creation, so like how you can create and draft your documents. One team maybe focus more on post-signature management. So we are talking storage, data insights, data extraction, tasks, reminders. And for example, my current team is focused right now on integrations and automations. So we all get to touch different bits or like areas of the application, and this way we don't really step on each other's toes when we work, basically.
Wonderful. Thanks for that clarification. And for all our viewers and listeners, let's just take a moment to zoom out. So you've joined us as a software developer. You're going through your onboarding. The checklist is the same as Ewan mentioned for more senior and more junior developers. However, the way you attack it and the way you solve the problem of completing the checklist is unique. So you're already contributing. However, Ewan, now that you've described how our cross-functional teams work, we're working on the checklist. We may have already submitted our first PR. How do we use the deployment development process? How do we actually submit these things?
All right. So we use continuous integration at Contractbook. So the process is pretty straightforward. We try to automate as much as we can in terms of like deployment process and development process. So in practice, it means every time you want to push a new change to our application, you submit a pull request. We are hosted on GitHub. So if you're basically familiar with GitHub, like doing some OSS stuff like this, you will more or less know how we proceed internally. So like the process will trigger an automatic pipeline that will run all the automated tests, linting, formatting, compiling, like whatever check that needs to happen there. So once the PR is approved, so usually we have 1 or 2 other developers looking at the PR. Then it gets automatically deployed to our staging environments. We also have a nice functionality that creates automatically something what we call the review app. So it's basically a copy of our staging environment with your new changes. So you don't have to set up from scratch a new application if you want to test it or if you want to show it to someone. Just click the button, it gets created automatically, and that's it. We also have end-to-end tests written in Cypress to make sure we don't have any kind of major regressions when we deploy something. So basically, most of the things are automated when it comes to deployment. When it comes to deploying to production, we usually do that a few times per week. It's on demand. So we basically release when we feel like there is something to be released, not on a specific schedule. And also, it's a very simple process. So it's all about merging staging into our production branch, and then everything is being triggered automatically, and we don't need any kind of manual interaction when doing so. When we need to, we can use feature flags when we need to control a bit more precisely what we want to release when and to which customer. So also like pretty standard.
Wonderful stuff. Seems, as you said, pretty standard and pretty straightforward from that point of view. However, I'm just worrying from a again people aspect. Forgive me. it does happen that people can get disenfranchised, or let's just say bored at work. How do you, as a tech lead, combat this, and how does it actually happen? What would you do if someone was bored on a project or a team they're working on?
Okay, so that's a very interesting question. Like my number one answer would be we'll try to avoid having people getting bored to start with. And how do we do that? So I think like the main aspect is what I mentioned a bit before, like the work within the team. So if you join as a developer, again, you won't be working purely on, all the time on, implementing tasks, like just taking tasks from our ticket system and just implementing them. There is much more to it. And we feel it's very important that developers take part in all the major decisions of, of the development process. So if you're a self-driven individual, if you want to learn about new domains or new areas, you will be able to collaborate with your product designer. So about UX design concerns, you will be able to do to learn more about product discovery with our product manager or product managers. You'll be able to collaborate with your QA engineer, maybe do a bit of testing, like if you want to learn, I don't know, Cypress end-to-end tests and so on. Everything will be possible. So that's the first aspect. Within the team, we are developers, but it's more about the activities of the team rather than like your role basically. And then the other aspect is, since we are a product, there is like an infinite number of challenges that we need to tackle. We are talking about security, we are talking about scalability, performance. Each project that we will be working on will be quite different. So you may have projects which are very heavy on the front end. So we'll do a lot of React, you will do a lot of JavaScript, TypeScript. But we also have projects which are very heavy on the back end. So where we would talk more about performance, about introducing new integrations with other applications, or completely different, like new things. Like recently, for example, we introduced OCR capabilities to the platform in order to be able to scan PDF or Word documents or images and be able to extract the data from it, or like full text search. So we really, from one project to the other, the nature of the work will be very different. And if you want to learn something new, like I think it's very difficult to get bored here, because everything, like literally, I learn new stuff on every single day.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. Yuan, last question. Again, a little bit of a hard one. I recall you saying at the beginning how one of the reasons was that you joined Contractbook was to learn and work with these new languages, or languages which aren't used as much, for example, Elixir. How do we incorporate this? Let's say a software developer has joined and just a whiz at Elixir. Is there any avenue for learning on the job different languages or different techs?
So that's a very good question. So here I will be very direct because I think it's very important to be transparent. If you're looking at, if you want to learn a new language or I don't know, a new tech stack, very often, like like some people may want to swap tech stacks every 6 months or so, then probably Contractbook is not like a good place for you, because being a product, we have a tech stack which is like pretty stable over the years, which has been working pretty well for us, and we don't plan on changing it anytime soon. So just to recap, what we use React and mostly Redux on the front end with JavaScript and TypeScript, and on the back end we use Elixir. And these two choices have been working very well for us. So obviously it doesn't mean that we will work with outdated tech, because we try to keep up to date with like the latest libraries. Try to assess regularly should we do some major like refactor decisions, or like things that we improve like the quality of the code base and make us tackle next challenges with a bit more confidence. We do all that. But like simply, we don't think introducing a new language, for example, to our stack is going to bring you and to bring us any advantage. These languages that we already use, they are able to tackle any kind of problem that we may have at this point at least. So yeah, really, like if you want to get into Elixir, if you want to do a bit more React and so on, then yes, definitely. But if you'd like to play with a different language every X month, then most probably this is not like the good place for you. That being said, though, and kind of going back to the previous question you asked, we do have a lot of new domains that we are exploring. So we are talking about AI, about like OCR, machine learning, data science. So even though the tech stack may be the same, the nature of the problems we tackle is changing. And now like one of the reasons why we are growing as well is we had all these blocks, so like content creation, signature, post-management signature, and so on. Now we want to go much deeper in each of these areas, add automation, integration, and so on. So there is a lot of things you can learn using our current tech stack from just exploring new domains.
Wonderful. Thanks a lot. Well, again, I want to thank you for your attention. We do want to save some time for questions at the end. So, Joanna, I don't know if you want to moderate this, but again, thank you to UN for taking the time out to have a chat and really me being allowed to pick his brains and get into the nitty-gritty of those first 2 weeks as a software developer. Again, I understand it's impossible to answer all questions and queries. So please reach out. I'll be more than happy. You've got a face to the name now. Joanna, thank you.
So let's just before, I wanted to thank you so much for this presentation. It was very dynamic, and I think that you answered a lot of the questions that were starting to appear here, and some people just deleted them. So let's see if you have anything more to give answer. I think so, but so let's start this Q&A moment. So let me just see if we can put them together. Okay, so one of the last things that you talked about was the tech stack. So I'm going to start with the question from Fred, that it was related to that. I know that you use Elixir on backend. Do you offer support to learn? You said that you are not going to change the tech stacks anytime soon, but what about this learning curve? What do you have to say about that?
All right. Very nice question. Thank you for asking. So yes, so one thing worth mentioning is we are not necessarily looking, and my cat is going crazy stuff right now, but no worries. So we are not necessarily looking for people who already know our tech stack perfectly. We are looking for developers with the ability to learn. And so that's a very important thing to say at the beginning. So we have a lot of people coming who came at Contractbook. They didn't know much about Elixir. Maybe they did a few tutorials, maybe they had some pet projects, but they didn't use it professionally. I was one of these. I was always a big fan of functional programming. I did a bit of Elixir on my own time. And one of the reasons I wanted to join was to actually be able to use Elixir professionally. So yes, it's definitely possible. So what we'll be looking at if you want to interview with us is, you as a developer, not because you know this specific language or this specific language, but how do you reason? How do you approach problems? What's obviously your experience, your seniority, and stuff like this. But we feel like the familiarity with a specific language is not always the best, sign in a developer that they may be a good fit for us.
Okay, so regarding that, Cyrilla asked, our experience must a possible candidate must be a possible candidate to join the Contractbook team. So
again, could you repeat the question?
Our experience must be a possible candidate to join your team.
Maybe he's trying to ask if they need to be an experienced candidate before they join?
No. So usually, what we look at within our cross-functional teams, we are looking for full stack developers. But we understand that and not everyone is perfect, natural born full stack developer with like perfect skills on the front end and perfect skills on the back end. So usually what happens is we hire people with stronger skills on one of the side, so either back end or front end, and then with the ability to learn or the willingness to learn the other side. So for example, you may be a strong React developer and you may want to learn a bit more about backend and learn Elixir, then for us, it's completely all right to do so. You may start as a strong backend developer, and you may want to try your hands at React and the front-end world, and then we're also happy to do so. Like the idea is to find within every team, we have to balance obviously like the level of seniority. So we don't want to be in a situation where we have teams with only more like junior people or only senior. We try to balance. So, we can do mentoring. We can give people the opportunity to learn if they're a bit more junior and so on. So this is how we approach it. But I would say your profile, your motivation, how you approach problems, how you reason are as important factors as your experience with a given tech stack.
Exactly. And if I can just tag on the end of what Ewan said, again, the soft skills are very, very important. And Ewan himself said he wasn't the best at Elixir when he joined, but he's got awesome communication skills. He's a team player and he's got a high level of English. So if you show us you're eager to learn, you bring something to the table, and you are a team player, that means for us bringing everyone around you up with you, okay? Not running ahead and looking back at where everyone is. So really work on those soft skills, and the way you reason and communicate is very, very important as well.
Mm-hmm. That's true. Okay. Like the communication aspect is very important for us as well.
Yeah. I think that also answered to some of the questions that were starting to appear regarding the tech stack that some of the people that are watching have, and if they are able to apply to, and if they are eligible for a job interview. So someone, let me just check here, sorry, because I remember the question. Okay, so Umar asked, do you offer remote jobs as well? But you're a remote first company, so
exactly, yes.
That's
maybe if you'd like to clarify what kind of job, or maybe not even what job, is he looking for product? Is he looking for commercial? We prefer our commercial, very, very roughly sales, marketing, customer care, success to be based in Denmark, in Copenhagen, and that's just strictly because it's a completely different way of thinking, and you have to be very people orientated, customer success driven, and that's much easier to foster that kind of environment if everyone's working in an office together and they can just look and speak. It's much quicker. If you're talking about product side, that means software developers, QAs, product managers, where we are remote first, and that's not going to change. I spoke to one of the founders before this. It's not changing. So we don't discriminate based on location, on anything, but not location at all. Be in Pakistan, be in Antarctica, it doesn't matter as long as you're a communicator and you're skilled.
To give you some idea, so we only have one office in the world. It's in Copenhagen, but none of the members of the product teams work there. So the product team is fully remote, and we are talking, so Brazil, we have a few people in Africa as well, I think in Cameroon. We have people, like most of them in Europe, but also some people in Russia. We have one of my colleagues from Pakistan. So yeah, all over the world.
Okay. George, regarding that, George asked if the position that you have right now for a customer success manager is remote. Because if he's Copenhagen, Denmark, United States, and he asking if it can be.
Exactly. As part of our Series B funding, that 30 million, we really do want to attack the US market, okay? And that brings a whole wealth of other challenges, compliance and a completely different way of thinking and even designing as opposed to European. So if it does specify United States, it means United States. That's just not for marketing. Regarding customer success in Copenhagen, Denmark, as I mentioned earlier, we'd heavily. It's not a requirement, but I'd say it's a 95%. We wish you to be located or have the ability to relocate into Copenhagen. And again, not because we want to make your life more difficult, but because we're trying to really foster a culture of people-driven solutions, and having our customer success or our sales teams scattered across the world, it's very, very difficult. Maybe it's a challenge we'll find a solution to in the future, but right now, the commercial side, we'd really appreciate if everyone was based in Copenhagen.
That being said, I know that our colleagues from customer success, also travel a lot. So, go back to their home countries and work from home, like, for 1 week or two, like travel also. Like we have a lot of travelers in the company. So obviously now with the pandemic, it's been a bit difficult for everyone, but we had people like working from, like completely different time zones, on holidays, stuff like this. So it's still, a possibility. Is just like for most of the time, most people will be in the office if you were talking about the commercial side of things.
Thanks for clearing that up.
Okay. Cool. So Lawrence left here like 3 questions for you regarding the business model and your presence in Africa. So I'm going to start with the first one. What is the software methodology practiced at Contractbook? And what is the level of adoption by the company's drivers?
I'm very glad you asked the question. I actually saw the question in the comments, and I didn't want to go too much into details when we were talking about the teams, but this is a great question for me to answer now. So the interesting thing about having different teams and giving freedom to these teams and ownership is the teams are able to choose like the methodologies they want to use. So we have a few things in common between all teams, like mainly because we are async first. So it means in terms of communication, we have to rely on written communication, and we want to make sure no one, is isolated or left aside just because they're on different time zone. But if it comes to organizing our work, I believe it's really up to the team to decide how they want to organize themselves. So it means that if one team wants to do Scrum, it's their decision. It's something they have to decide by themselves. If one team wants to do more Kanban, or I don't know, like do pair programming, or use, I don't know, XP programming, or like stuff like this, it's basically up to like the team to decide. We don't believe in enforcing some kind of software methodology on all teams, because it simply doesn't work. These kind of things are highly dependent on what the team is working on the team members, their preferences, their past experience, and so on. So like this is all about discussing, finding compromises also within the team, and making sure basically you have the best methodology for what you need to do. So basically it means we are really open for when we have even new joiners coming a team, for new ideas, how to organize ourselves, and so on. And this is something that is very important to me as well.
Okay. So the other question was, do Contractbook have a presence in Africa, particularly in Nigeria?
Mm-hmm. So we do have. If you want to try, we are open for interviews. Sometimes it may be a bit difficult for some other like legal aspects and so on, but definitely yes. As I mentioned, we have one colleague from Cameroon, and we are open to have more. Just bear in mind that sometimes there may be some administrative issues or like kind of legal issues that get in the way, but it's definitely possible. Yes.
Okay. Cool. Okay. So is there? Okay.
We have one guy joining
sorry.
from Mauritius as well. I forgot to mention very soon. So
exactly. It's again, we don't discriminate based on anything, and it was difficult for me to understand as well. I'm not in a big hub. I'm not in Lisbon. I'm not in Paris. You know, for us, again, it really doesn't matter if we're talking strictly about the product team. We look at soft skills and then obviously what you can bring and your technical capabilities. So again, the only issue which could arise would be a legal issue. That's it.
Okay.
As long as you're willing to sync up for a daily, which is just a short meeting. Each team runs it a little bit differently every day for around 30 minutes. We're good. That's it. That's the only requirement, location based. As long as we don't run into any legal issues, and you're willing to be part of the team and somewhat align with that European time zone, because that's where our company is based, first of all, and that's where most of our workers happen to fall. Location doesn't matter.
Yeah. And just to when we say aligned, we are just talking, like 2 or 3 hours of overlap. In my team, we have one colleague from Brazil, for example, and like he started working when like not when we are finished, but we only have a few hours of overlap, but it's fine. Like that's the idea when you are asynchronous. We shouldn't require everyone to be at the same time in the same room, all the time. So it's completely fine.
Exactly.
Okay, cool. So we just have a question that just came right now to the chat, but I think that would be cool to answer it right now. What is your interview process like? Steven asked.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. I can take this again. So you have a chat. It's broken up into stages, and each stage you learn more about us. We learn more about you. And again, we're really looking for these soft communication skills and technical capabilities. Some good news: there's no coding tasks required as part of the interview process. I know some companies do that, and I've got an opinion on that. I disagree, but there's no coding for us. So you have an interview, a chat with myself or Chris, my colleagues. We just have a chat just to see if we'd be the right fit. And as I said, communication, level of English is very important for us. Then you'd move on to the second stage, and that would be a longer chat, a more technical chat with one of our tech leads, like Ewan, for example. The third stage then would be just a task. Now, it's not a coding task. It's more about, as Ewan said, seeing how you solve problems. So I don't want to give away too much. However, there'll be a problem which a stakeholder will give you, and it's just a chat via Slack, 1 hour approximately, and that's it. And the third stage is going to be a chat with our founder, just to finalize some details, for example, regarding salary and starting dates. And you're in. Welcome.
Yeah. So the whole process, we are talking about three hours of basically conversations with us. So it's not too long. We understand that you have a life and other stuff to do. So it's not about taking one full day for our interviews, but
exactly
making a good experience for you as well.
Yeah, and just a timeline. I know it's some people may also ask. Once we start an interview process, we like to have it ended relatively quickly. Be that some advice and feedback on what you could do to improve, or to the full completion of hiring. I was looking at some stats, and we're doing pretty well. On average, it's about 2.5 weeks from application review to signing the contract and being hired. So we move fast. We're entrepreneurial minded, and that's who we're looking for. So please, if you fit this, apply, reach out to me. More than happy to have a chat with you.
Cool. So another question: does Contractbook only specialize on solutions regarding contracts for businesses only?
Not necessarily. So we have, obviously we have some offers. We have different plans basically on the product. Some including advanced automations, integrations, and so on. But you also have a free tier for single users. So if you want to try out the platform, you can just create a free account, and you can store your contracts or send your contracts from here. So some businesses also use the free tier if they want to, if it's enough for them. We are more than happy to have them.
Okay, cool. The questions are always arriving. Let me just.
I'm glad we're engaging the audience.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. is still on the business side of Contractbook. Is India a target market for Contractbook?
A target market for Contractbook in terms of customers understand. So yeah, small and medium businesses. Because as I believe Benji mentioned during the presentation, these are kind of left on the side by the other big players who, like most of the time, focus on very big enterprise. But basically, yeah, like this would be like the main target. But we also have like bigger companies working on our platform. So like it ranges from companies with 1 or 2 contracts to companies with like tens of thousands of contracts. And different needs. So this is where it gets interesting because we have a lot of customers and a lot of different needs. And now like the challenge is to offer solutions that will, make sure that most people will be happy.
Exactly. And just tagging on, just to add at the end, since we can offer solutions to so many people, just to give a really straight answer, we're going to be focusing on the US and Northern Europe and really seeing and working with the customers there. But as Yuan said, we want to help everyone. That's our mission, small and medium businesses all across the world. So again, it's still foreign for me, but location for us isn't really an obstacle unless it's a legal one. Other than that, we want to help everyone in the world. Very, very simple.
Cool. That's cool. So regarding that, for positions such as customer success, which is preferred to be located in Copenhagen, as you said, do you offer assistance in relocation?
It's to give you an ambiguous answer. it's up for negotiation. Again, our basically model and hiring model is we prefer it to be a B2B contract. Obviously, if that's not an option, we have got intermediaries, which we can hire you through as a proxy. But for us, it's much easier to pay a little bit more on a B2B contract and then let you take care of the taxes and relocation and living costs in your own country than to move people over. So I'm sorry I can't give you a straight answer to that. We're here to help. We're not going to say, oh, whatever. But a relocation package per se, it's up for negotiation.
Yeah, but Otávio, just to add some juice to this, Landing.Jobs as a service that can help you in that. So maybe you can reach out to us, and then
reach out to Landing.Jobs.
Reach out to Contractbook. So. Do you guys have any info on compensation levels and ranges?
Mm-hmm.
Again, yeah, very, very ambiguous. It's up for negotiation, but something we really pride ourselves on. And again, coming back to being people centric, we should now be displaying salary ranges on all our job postings. So we're very transparent. We're very upfront. We've got a budget for a set job, and that's displayed. And if for some reason it's not displayed, I'm going to tell you on the first interview stage anyway. If it's not displayed, again, write to me. I'll fix it as soon as I can. But we don't hide that. Per salary range, I can't give you off the top of my head. We've got a lot of job openings, as you can see, but it's listed there. And within that range, it's up to negotiation. Where you price yourself, very simple, very transparent about this. We don't want to hide anything or have you asking or make it uncomfortable.
Okay. I think I'm only missing one question from Moa. Does Contractbook's architecture makes use of microservices? If so, would you consider Node.js to be useful on your current tech stack?
Okay, interesting question. No, we don't use microservices. We use so Elixir is quite interesting because you can scale it so we have a monolith basically, but that scales, and that is actually pretty well organized and pretty well defined. I think it's the beauty of using Elixir. It's very easy to scale applications without having to rely on microservices, which introduce a whole lot of complexity or kind of different problems. So we don't regarding Node.js or any kind of backend technologies. To be honest, it depends. Like it's going to be more about you as a backend developer and your experience rather than the language you're familiar with. Like we have a lot of challenges we face on the backend. We need to think about performance, about scalability, about maintainability, all these things, and all these things will be you will have these problems in all languages if you get to work on more advanced or more complex solutions. So we are really interested in understanding what's your experience with dealing with these kind of issues, but also, again, how do you think? How do you approach business problems, for example? This is much more important than whether you know C# or Java or Node.js or some other languages. One thing being said, though, if you have some experience with functional programming, I think it will give you some head start because Elixir is a functional language, and we also try to apply like functional programming concepts to the front end when we use React as well. So like if you have some, like you will have some head start, but again, we have people coming without any prior knowledge and they do just fine.
Okay, so we're ending our session. We will leave your contact in the chat, so everyone can reach out to more questions. We will also leave our contact from our Landing.Jobs contacts, guys, if you need anything else. But that's it for today. Thanks again for being here with us, Benjamin and Johan. It was really cool to learn more about Contractbook. How do you work asynchronously and with all these cross-functional teams in a remote first culture? So it was really great to have you here with us. I would also like to enjoy these final minutes to invite everyone to join us on October 15th and 16th in the Future Works Tech Conference. It will be the first in-person tech conference of the year in Portugal. And we'll also have a virtual option for those of you who can come to Lisbon, and then for everyone around the world. We will be leaving the link also in the chat for more info about it, and we really look forward to see you all there. So thanks again, everyone, and have a nice day.
Perfect. Thank you. And again, don't hesitate to reach out. Looking forward to it.
Exactly. Bye-bye.
Bye.